Hello, everyone. I figured I'd start with a picture of my good friend Mike and Diane. I had dinner with him last night with another good friend, Brian. We connected in Sarria. This is where we're going to separate. I'm going to hang back slower. They're going to push forward and end by the 8th. So I was a little bummed. Hopefully, I get to walk with them tomorrow. But today we walked from Sarria to another town called Portomarin. Sarria was really nice, and we left this morning, but definitely we found out quickly that as we were walking out of town, there were so many pilgrims who start in Sarria, and I heard rumors that it was almost like Disney World. It was like loaded with people, so you're going to see pictures with a lot of pilgrims walking. We were walking with some young Spanish girls who were really loud. My ears were bleeding a bit, but we tried to separate ourselves. But it was a pretty good walk. We walked 23.5 kilometers. You're going to see a lot of pictures of animals and dogs specifically. Today is this day of St. Francis, and Brian told me he was going to take a lot of pictures of dogs, and I laughed at him because it was about the animals. But there were so many out there. I even took some pictures, not as many as Brian. But this walk was actually pretty straightforward. A lot of hills, rolling hills, so it wasn't necessarily easy, but it was okay. The paths were good, a lot of asphalt, a lot of gravel. But the views were awesome once the cloud cover left. And like I mentioned, there was like a ton of people walking throughout. There was one scenario where a woman that had been walking the whole Camino, she was talking to Brian, and told him that she was leaving. She said it was too crowded for her. You'll see some pictures there. She's like, this isn't the Camino I wanted, and it's too many people. So she was just going to leave. Brian was trying to talk her out of it because she only had like 5 days left or 4 days left. So hopefully she'll change her mind. But the walk, like I mentioned, was pretty good other than some rolling hills. The views were awesome. And let's see. We walked through a lot of little towns that had only a few of them had food or drink, and we took only a brief like water break for 5 minutes, and then we stopped for 20 minutes for like an omelet or something. Other than that, we walked straight through. And just to let everyone know, like starting today, you're measured. You can't get a certificate unless you get 2 stamps on your Camino passport. So I have to be diligent on making sure like that I have at least 2 stamps. Today I got 2 from the cafe when I started this morning, and then a church. I got a stamp here at the hotel that I'm staying at now, but I'm gonna forward date it. I'm gonna date it for tomorrow. You just have to have 2 stamps in order to qualify for 2 stamps a day. So I just want to make sure. I'll probably get like 3 stamps per day, especially if there's a church. You'll see some pictures of the church that I went to in Portomarin. Beautiful landscapes as the sun finally came out. It's been like 3 days. My cold, it's getting a little better. I'm better when I'm outside walking, but now that I'm in the hotel, I could feel myself getting congested, but it's not affecting my breathing. Diane and Mike also had a cold, and a lot of people that have endured the rain over the past few days, they're definitely feeling something. Soon you're going to see some pictures of me hitting the 100 kilometers to go mark. That seemed to be a pretty popular spot where we took pictures of Mike, Diane, myself, and Brian. So this is me at the marker. This is Mike and Diane. And then here's the four of us with Brian. Brian is such a great guy. I really enjoy talking with him, listening to him, and obviously Mike and Diane as well. So these were some really small little villages that you're just passing through. There's some really cool trees here. You can see what we're really impressed with is all the rock walls that we're passing, and Mike and I were just contemplating like how old these walls are and how did they build them and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. Okay, I'll let this play out and I'll comment as needed. Here's a cool picture of a horse. I was thinking about my Uncle Joe here. You know, the horse the horse lives as the grass grows. I was thinking of Uncle Joe there for sure. Excuse me. Here are two dogs. You won't believe it that this guy and his wife are trolleying their two dogs. They actually did the Pyrenees Mountains through some jagged rocks, and he said that, they just roll it or carry it to Burgos, and then they picked up again from Sarria to the end. So they didn't do the full 500 miles, but those dogs are cute. They let them out and run around. The best part of Sarria is the landscape. It's just absolutely stunning. Every time you turn a corner, you take another picture because you think you've gotten it all. I think I've mentioned that several times. So today's day 34. I don't even know if I mentioned it, but day 34. I am now officially targeting to complete my journey a week from today. So 7 more days of walking, and from here on in, my days actually shorten up. The reason why Mike, Diane, and Brian finishing early, they're like doing like 16 miles, 18 miles. I purposely try to manage it because I know how my feet are. So I'm actually going to have a couple short days where they would have been super long days. And so instead of finishing on the 8th, I'll be finishing on the 11th. So that'll be a special day because then I'll be planning for my return home. So Portomarin this is a rock wall. This was a super difficult walk down that crevice because sometimes you had to drop like 1.5 feet for each step, and we were getting on our butts and getting down. It was super slippery. And this is as we're entering Portomarin. You saw that little bell. It's called the Liberty Bell. You have to ring it, so we rung it, and I took pictures. This is the reservoir, and then the steps up, and then we went into the church called St. Nicholas. So. So this is just about done. I hope you liked it. And on to another town tomorrow. Bye all.